2020 Democratic presidential hopefuls took to the stage in Detroit Wednesday night at the 110th annual NAACP convention.
Candidates spoke on topics including criminal justice reform, slavery reparations, and civil rights. This comes less than a week before the second round of primary debates, which are also in Detroit.
CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns is there, and she joins us now. So, Caitlin, what were some of the key issues discussed at this year's convention?
Hello, good morning from the Motor City, where just next week we're going to have the second Democratic presidential debate. We got a little bit of a preview yesterday when lots of 2020 candidates were here speaking to the NAACP convention. They talked about issues like education, racial inequality, reparations, as you mentioned, issues related to education and health care, and other items they would put forward as president, especially on issues of criminal justice reform. It was kind of a rapid fire. One on the stage, one out. They were all kind of mingling with each other. And this was a crowd that is very critical to Democratic success in a place like Michigan and around in these early primary states. Lots of these candidates want to ramp up their support among African-American voters. This is a group that they have to talk to and continue to come back and be here and campaign here.
So with Biden still leading in the polls, he's taken incoming, right? That's the job of the people that are running against him, right? Is to try and knock him off. So we got Cory Booker taking aim at his history when it comes to criminal justice, in particular the tough on crime bill from 1994. Booker criticizing him over that. You asked Booker about it. Let's play some of that sound.
I'm disappointed that it's taken Joe Biden years and years until he was running for president to actually say that he made a mistake, that there were things in that bill that were extraordinarily bad. I've been living and working now in Newark, New Jersey for 20 years, and we've seen the devastating impact of legislation like that has destroyed communities, that has turned, put mass incarceration on steroids. And so I'm disappointed it's taken him so long to own up to that. And now he's unveiled his crime bill for a guy who helped to be an architect of mass incarceration. This is an inadequate solution to what is a raging crisis in our country.
So Joe Biden just unveiled his own sort of criminal reform ideas, but this is going to be an issue for him moving forward. He has a very long history in Washington, D.C. People are going to ask him to start explaining some of his decisions. We saw what happened with Kamala Harris. Now with Booker, does he have a strategy to tackle this?
That's right. He is taking incoming because he is still the front runner. And I asked Joe Biden yesterday when we were with him here in Detroit, I said, look, Cory Booker called you the architect of mass incarceration. Not mincing words there. What do you respond with? And he really went after Cory Booker's record in Newark. He defended his position on the crime bill and said, look, I have this new proposal coming out that deals with criminal justice reform. And he said he is very anxious to take on Cory Booker on that debate stage. Then we saw the campaign release another statement after we spoke with Biden, going after Cory Booker and his record in Newark. So we know that Joe Biden was caught off guard by Kamala Harris going after him on the issue of busing on the debate stage. He told us yesterday that, look, he was maybe a little too polite on that debate stage. Later, at a fundraiser last night, he said that he might not be as polite anymore. And so I think you're seeing a shift from the Biden campaign, not only being defensive of his record, but also going on the offense against his other candidates. He really started this election making this a one-on-one race between himself and Donald Trump, waging a general election campaign, and he's realizing he's got to get through the primary first. So this is how he is trying to deal with his long record in the Senate as vice president, and with some of these newcomers to the campaign trying to make a name for themselves as well.
Caitlin, the presidential candidates at the convention also addressed the issue of impeachment Wednesday. Of course, Robert Mueller was testifying back in Washington as they spoke. So what did they have to say?
That's right. They were asked about it because it was the news of the day. As you and I have always talked about, when we're on the campaign trail in places like Detroit and elsewhere around, voters are rarely asking about the Mueller investigation, about Russian interference, but the candidates had to address this yesterday. You had several candidates saying, yes, we want to open impeachment proceedings, but we also need to focus on the tasks at hand and litigating this at the ballot box as well. But what's really interesting yesterday, we heard this a little bit from Amy Klobuchar and some others, that they're still really concerned about the possibility of Russian interference, that it's continuing again into the 2020 election, and particularly on social media and other avenues where this could affect the outcome. And this comes as the Democratic primary is talking about a lot of issues related to the electoral process, talking about issues like voting access and voting rights. They're trying to put this all in a frame of, look, this is a serious issue that remains one heading into this next election.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns in Detroit. Thank you so much, Caitlin.
Thank you.